tell me if this is true. Like in professional hockey or hockey, it's like you're only on the ice for a very short period of time, and then you're out, and then you got to rest, and then you go back in. Is that right?
45 seconds.
No way.
45 seconds. That's what people don't understand. Like a minute maybe.
Yeah.
After the game, like, you get they have like a stat sheet that they pass out, shows your ice time, and then shows your average shift length. And typically you're at like the 30 to 45 second range, because if you get stuck out there after a minute, I'm telling you, you can't bend your legs. That's how much they burn. You mean you're going up, down. You got a 220-pound guy leaning on you, battling in the corner on the blades. Like it's very, very anaerobic. And if you get stuck out there and you can't like too long, you get exposed. Right? That's when
you get hurt.
No, not hurt. That's when the other team starts whipping around you. Like if you always think you can go that one extra time down. But if you're like having any doubt, you go for the change, because if you go down and then you got to come back and you get stuck playing defense, it's miserable.
You're just burning
legs. Like you can't even. And then when it gets down, you can't even get to the bench because your legs are burning so bad. And like you can train all summer long, sprinting, running stairs, biking at the height, with the most tension on, jumping, squatting, skating all summer long. Till you get back to training camp, you don't even it's like you didn't even train, because it's just such a rigorous activity when you go at the fastest pace you can.
It's unbelievable. I'm thinking it's like whenever I push the sled on the field, like that type of burn, like when by the time you get to the end, it's like you cannot even walk anymore. You got to lay down.
And you can push the sled all summer long.
Yeah.
And then you go out there and you play hockey and you're like, what was the point? I guess it could be worse, but I mean, it is the ultimate leg, glute, adductors.
Yeah.
It's just hip flexors. It's just a very, very intense leg exercise.
So crazy to think that it's only 30, 45 seconds, minute at the most. And you're out there and then you're off.
Exactly. Defensemen play a little bit more. There's only 6 defensemen on the team, so they play a little bit more, but you don't want their shifts being extended either. Like it's just. And then like the top players too, if their shift lengths get a little too long, they're just floating around. The guys who play 18 to 20 minutes, and if they have like, minute 15-second shifts, typically they don't have great game because they're just kind of, floating around out there versus like going, giving it.
So tell me, because you talked about like there's a certain age, you're about 15, 16 years old, like that you talked about earlier, where like that's when you actually had to leave home. Mm-hmm. Like if you're going to go to the next level, not just going, not playing tennis, on whatever, or playing hockey just here and there, to get to the next level, like what's that like? And like why do you have to leave home? Like what do you have to do to become a professional?
It's basically everybody's at the same point in their career where they're like, okay, I'm the best kid where I live, no matter where I am. I'm living in Arizona, California, Michigan, wherever it is. There's a certain point where you become the top player. And some of these kids go to Minnesota kids, they come out of Minnesota high school hockey straight to D1 college. They never have to leave home. But in certain spots, it's just, you've hit the peak. You can only go so far, like this junior league that I'm playing at right now, on Long Island, I can only get so far. And some guys from my team went D1 straight from that junior team. Yeah. But, there's just, sometimes they need to go to this other league to get the exposure, or they need another year or two. You can actually play in those leagues past 18. You could play till you're 20.
Really?
Like, so I was 18. I was a true freshman when I went to Michigan, but I had guys in my class, same class, graduating class, that were 20 because they went to the junior leagues. They were later developers. They needed an extra, 2 years. They couldn't play high school anymore because they aged out. So they went to these leagues, played 19, 20 years old, ended up getting recruited to grade school. They just needed a little bit more time. But there's just, those leagues are scouted more. The recruiters are there. Even the NHL scouts go watch those leagues. So it's just like, it's like if you want to get the exposure and you want to give yourself the best chance, for certain players, you have to go to these leagues to play. But it's very common, very common.